today's very first guest, I'm excited to have him here because we haven't had this business on yet. Mr. Andy / goes by Andrew as well. Hi, thank you for being here.
Hi, Kelly. Thanks for having me.
Your business is?
Karsh's Catering.
Yes, catering. Except, are there food samples?
You know, I didn't bring any today. Didn't have time.
So we're going to have to reschedule him, and we'll be right back. No, you're located here in Fresno. You're local.
We're local. Been in business for 17 years.
Oh, my goodness.
And kind of on the short tails of my family that used to own Karsh's Bakery from 1954 to 1980.
Oh, so not that long. Just kind of been around.
Yeah.
Now, so it's kind of started off as a family thing.
Well, you know, I grew
the
bakery. You know, we kind of grew up in there as, you know, we didn't really work much. We played around a lot in the bakery and ate a lot. Taste test, yeah. And but the family sold the bakery in 1980. I was still just a sophomore in high school, but I wasn't allowed to work in the bakery because I was kind of young. But my family thought greater things for me. I was to be the doctor or the lawyer. But
yes, I know that.
But lo and behold, I'm the only one left now in the food business. I didn't get enough as a kid, so now here I am getting my fill as an adult.
That's okay.
Yeah.
People love you. You've been doing it for 17 years. That's a good long time. Is there a specialty of yours?
That's probably the most frequent question I get, and my response is always, I specialize in good food. You know,
Good answer.
Everything I make is going to taste great. I don't want my food to taste like anybody else's. We actually, when we can, we cook on location. So your food is hot and fresh. It wasn't cooked 2 or 3 hours before and held in a cabinet and brought over to you.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have stoves, ovens.
And you bring all that to
the location,
Oh,
right? You know,
goodness.
I got a big 8-foot Tobel barbecue, and so we can grill a lot of things. I actually turn that into an oven as well for doing fish and things like that. So, you know, we can do a lot of different things with the equipment we have to make your party a very great, tasty wedding. And, I mean, sometimes I tell my brides, people may remember the food more than your dress.
Well, I mean, I remember when it's a good plate. I remember that forever and ever. Oh, yeah, that person's wedding. Oh, my God, their food was so good. Yeah.
You know, and I get friends from from people who I've done their wedding. And they'll say, oh, yeah, you did my friend's wedding. I want you to do mine. And, you know, it just word of mouth. It's the best form of.
It's huge. Especially, that's what I love about the wedding industry is, I say that all the time, that people don't realize the vendors that they're booking are homegrown, like local businesses for the most part.
Right.
So,
so
I love. So friends and word of mouth, and it just goes and goes and goes. Now, what does your menu look like? Do you have just like a ton of things?
Well, if you go to my website, www.karshes.com, it's huge. It's bigger. I probably haven't cooked half the things on my menu. But when I first made my website, I wanted people to know that I am an executive chef. I can cook a lot of different things. I mean, we are in Fresno, and yes, tri-tip and chicken is the predominant thing around here. But, you know, quite often I get those people that venture out past that tri-tip and chicken thing, and we'll do a lot of different things. You know, I know there's some pictures going across of some of the buffets that I've done. The smoked salmon is one of my specialty things. That you see that one, there it is.
It's so pretty. How you eat it? It's so pretty.
You just eat that with crackers, and I do a cream cheese dip with dill in it. It's real good. But for entrees, you know, we'll get the occasional. You know, people will want to do something nice, and we'll do a nice steak. You know, whether it be a fillet or a New York. You know, or we can do others. You know, we can do any steak you want to do.
Wow.
But you know, fish. You know, with salmon. I've done some tilapia. I like to do basa more than tilapia. I think it has a little more buttery flavor.
Now, when a bride comes to you and, okay, I'm getting married in a year, this is my date, how do they then narrow down what kinds of foods to get, how many different types to offer? How do they narrow down your big
I always my first question is, are we going to do a sit-down or are we going to do a buffet?
Okay.
And if it's a buffet, I tell them, this doesn't have to be a grand buffet like you would get in some big, huge hotel for Sunday brunch. You're feeding your friends, and don't think that you have to have this dish for that person and grandma's favorite dish.
Right.
You're going to feed a lot of people. And so, people come in, I want beef, chicken, pork, and shrimp or whatever. And it's like, really? 3 is the max, 2 is all you need, and a lot of times all I do is 1 if your budget really plays into the equation. But really, if you have 2, a fish and a beef, or a beef and a chicken, you're going to cover bases for most everybody. And then I always try to accommodate, if people know that there's going to be vegetarians there, let me know, and if I have to make maybe 3 or 5 vegetarian dishes, I keep those on the side.
Okay.
Tell those people if it's a buffet to let me know who they are. I'll have one of my servers get it for them. If it's a sit-down, obviously I have to know who's getting what.
Right.
We're not a restaurant. We bring out what we need so everybody gets what they want. And definitely if it is a sit-down, I tell them no more than 2 entrees per plate. Because the plate's only so big and you can only fit so much on it. But the same thing, for starches and salad. I want 2 starches, I want 2 salads, I want, it's like, where are you going to put all that on your plate,
Right here.
Yeah, I just tell them, 2 entrees, a salad, a starch, a vegetable, some dinner rolls, and that's really the basic stuff. That's really all you need. That's a full meal.
So what's your advice to people who are shopping for a caterer? Because there's lots of options out there.
Well, for sure, they want to get a licensed caterer. That's the big thing. And when I say licensed caterer, there's not a actual caterer's license.
To show a badge or something.
Yeah, they need to have a real facility to cook out of. Not just
their kitchen at home.
Well, some kitchens are licensed now. You have the cottage law. So some people can be licensed. But so if they are cooking it out, make sure they are licensed. I started that way. Most of us do. But there's so many people now that are just working out of the garage. They order some stuff up and they go out and do it. And yeah, it's cheap, but cheap isn't always good. So even expensive isn't always good. And I'm not going to say I'm the most expensive caterer out there. I think my prices are fair. And my food is hot, it's fresh, I've never had anybody come up to me and say, you know what, I can't eat this.
Right.
It's always, wow, this is really good.
After 17 years, that's a pretty good track record.
Well, I'm trying, I'm really a hands-on owner of my company. Like I said, I attend probably 90% of every party I book.
Which is really unheard of for the owner and executive chef to be there at the event, cooking it there, serving it there. Well,
I've never tried to be this huge caterer. I'm more about the quality than the quantity. If I am doing a wedding, that's all I'm going to book that day for the most part. Every once in a while, I'll do 2 in a day, or weddings, or wedding and something else, but only if I know that, I have the staff around to make sure I can handle that. Because again, if it doesn't go off right, I'm not going to get that repeat business.
Right.
And when I become someone's caterer, especially for a wedding, I want to become the caterer for life. I want to do that kid's first birthday. I want to do mom and dad's anniversary party.
There you go.
And then any other graduations that come up. Maybe you have something at work, or you're involved with a nonprofit organization. You're having a fundraiser, and most fundraisers involve food. I want to be involved with their lives and their friends' lives, and doing food for everybody. If my food is good enough for your wedding, it's good enough for everything else you do.
Now, how do people contact you?
You can either reach me through the website, like I said, www.karshs.com, or you can email me at chefandrew@karshes.com. And on the website, you can actually pick out your menu from some pre-made menus, and there's some questions to ask, and I'll look at those and either email you back with some pricing, or usually I call and ask some more additional questions to to find out exactly what your needs are. And then I'll follow up with an email, a quote back to them. But also, there's a section, it's an a la carte section, where you can make your own menu, where there's a list of appetizers,
Customize it.
entrees, salads, vegetables, starches, and you can make your own menu. And that's what I like most of I prefer my customers to use that part so that they're getting the food that they want.
Right.
The first 8 years of my business, I didn't even have the pre-made menus. I just finally broke down after people begging me for them. And then I made them, and then, of course, every time someone wanted one, they wanted to change something on it. Because, obviously, I don't know what everybody wants.
Right. Not everybody's going to fit in that same little
So,
box.
and if you pick out a menu that's out of your budget, I work with you. And, we can say, well, I'll give you suggestions. Maybe have this instead of that, just to make it work. I'm not a tyrant, except for, well, my employees might say that. But,
Learn it on the show.
I'm real easy to work with. And I look forward to helping out as many young brides and, well, any bride. I don't care what your age is. I just did a wedding last year for a couple that were in their 60s. And
That's amazing.
Yeah. And one was in his 70s.
Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing all this. Next time you come back, though, we're going to need to do a taste test.
All righty. We'll bring something.
All right, guys, stay tuned, and we will be right back.